Jasper in the Philippines is now in full panic mode, trying to protect his ego, and he's contradicting so many statements that he has made previously, and damaging any credibility that anyone may have thought that this man still has. Jasper has made video after video after video after video speaking about how Western men have an easier time dating in the Philippines and how they are typically favored over Filipino men. But he's now saying this.
Have, say, the money advantage, or they're taller, or they can give you an American passport or whatever country's passport, or, you know, all that good stuff. I recently did a poll on my channel and asked this exact question because, as I suspected, maybe 30%, maybe 40% to be generous would go with a Western man, but generally they prefer to stick with their own kind. And even with Western guys having the money advantage, a lot of women just don't care. So that Filipina that you're banging, she doesn't love you. No matter how much she claims that she loves you, she doesn't love you. She loves your money.
So what happened? Why is Jasper all of a sudden reversing course on this and completely contradicting everything that he has said previously? It's because he was just rejected by a Filipina, and of course, he's gonna play the race card. Not only that, he's going to assert that part of Filipino culture is to, quote, stay with your own kind. I'm going to play the clip of Jasper explaining the situation from his perspective, and we can go through it.
Okay, what happened with Erica, her family? She said that her dad found out, because so I left Cebu and I still had a day or two on my Airbnb, and I said, you know what, don't go with me now, don't take your leave right now. She said she'll take her leave whenever I tell her to. And I said, let me do the Siargao trip that I'm obligated to do, that I'm 2 months late on, that people donated towards. Her sister came in like the day after I came in. She said, can I have my sister stay at the Airbnb with me? I said, of course, 100%. Then her sister got wind of the fact that a foreigner had paid for that and that she was starting to date with a foreigner or something. And her sister's been in a relationship with a Filipino man for 11 years. And her sister didn't like that. I think she found out my YouTube channel. And then the father was alerted to that fact. The father apparently rented her a very expensive hotel room as sort of the forget about the foreigner room. And then she was still thinking she could sway them. And that's when we did that phone call 4 days ago where she said, okay, we'll keep it the same, babe, and this and that. And then yesterday she broke down and was like, my father will not allow me to date you. And I was like, you're 28 years old and you don't live with your father. And she's like, I can't go against my father. And I said, okay, I totally respect the culture. I'm respectful of it. I'm still learning about the culture, to be realistic, you guys. She called in and someone was like, she's likely already in love with you. And then she was on the phone and she said, I am in love with you.
Let's take a look at that call, because at no point during that call does she ever say anything about being in love with him. He's straight up blatantly lying about that. But the entire point of this call is to establish that they are friends only, that they are not pursuing a relationship with one another, that they both have things going on, and that they are just friends. And it is stressed very heavily that this is a mutual decision, that they both want this, and that they're not dating. They never dated, and that they are not going to be dating going forward.
Basically, I think each of us thought the other one wanted a relationship, and we definitely act like we're in a relationship when we're together, as far as like we're not platonic friends, definitely, but I won't go any further than that.
So Jasper does this so often. He will pretend that he is being respectful in the way he's saying something, but he is not. He thinks he's being sneaky. He thinks he's conveying the information that he's trying to convey to the audience while also seeming respectful about it. He's like, well, not going to go into detail about the things, wink, wink, the things that we're doing when I'm not recording or talking to Todd or Neanderthal. I'm not going to get into that. But he knows exactly what he's doing. He's putting it out there that they're having sex or they're doing these other things while also trying to sound like, oh, I'm such a nice guy. I'm not telling anybody that, but you can think what you want. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to confirm or deny it. But maybe we're doing it, maybe we're not. I'm not going to tell you guys. You know.
Can just be exactly like we were if and when we see each other in the near future.
So she never said anything about loving him. He hid this live stream behind his members only. So it's called Hitting 24K live in Barakai plus Erica live call-in. That's where this is from. You can actually see the full thing. I don't want to. He talks with her for quite a while, but she does not ever say anything about loving him. This is Jasper rewriting history again. I've covered several times about him being an unreliable narrator. This is exactly what I'm talking about, where he will recall events that didn't actually happen, and just if he says it confidently enough, then people will buy it. So I don't know, again, if he actually believes this happened or if he's just putting on the act for the audience so that they don't think less of him for it. So I don't know. Okay, so let's go back to Jasper explaining why he believes Erica's father will not allow her to date him. Again, it's kind of weird that he's saying date when they've made it pretty clear they're not dating.
I think it was being a foreigner 100%, but then if you saw the YouTube, that probably didn't shine any great light on me, which I'm really not sure.
So listen to what he says the content is that would paint him in a negative light.
The consultations that I've booked in the past, I was able to tell them, hey, this is where I would move. This is how the immigration process works. Hey, this is what it's going to be like when you get on the dating apps, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we don't know if he saw the YouTube for sure, but I think being a foreigner alone may have disqualified me, but the YouTube probably put the nail in the coffin. But honestly, I'm not even going to sit here and speculate. It is what it is, bro.
Yes, Jasper, I'm sure it was because you were a foreigner. Not because you took his daughter's pictures from Facebook from a year before you knew her and put them as thumbnails for videos saying that she's a submissive beauty. I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. As a father, I'm sure he's totally thrilled seeing that. Or, within a week of knowing her, taking pictures like this and using them as thumbnails to try to attract more views to your channel. Okay, now that we've gotten all that high school drama out of the way, let's get to the heart of the issue here. And that's going to be Jasper's inability to remain consistent, and secondly, his absolute ignorance when it comes to many things associated with the country that he currently is living in. He often uses this logic, I do consultations, therefore I am an expert, rather than I am an expert, so I do consultations. Jasper seems to have very little actual knowledge about Filipino culture and a lot of what is actually going on around him. I suspect it has to do with him not truly interacting with the world that he is currently living in beyond his phone, his chat, his live streams, and maybe going to and from a restaurant. But he's not going with the locals and doing things. So let's go through this video and we can point out where this is the case.
Just as I had suspected, Filipino guys win, even against the money advantage of Western men, the height advantage.
And just a side note, I found it funny that Jasper references money, which he claims he has, and height, which others claim he doesn't have, which he often disputes, as the two of the differentiating characteristics of a Western man compared to a Filipino. So there are a lot of differentiating characteristics. I just found it funny that he chose those two specifically.
The many reasons why a man, you would think he would win, but he wouldn't actually. I think there's a bit of a financial obligation on the Western men, and the Filipino guys sometimes don't absorb that obligation. In fact, sometimes quite the opposite, but I'm not an expert on that. A lot of guys just can't get with it, and it takes time to actually attempt to adapt or to find the right girl or to find someone that draws boundaries with their family or is willing to go against their family for you. A lot of women simply won't do that.
Ugh, yuck. I mean, a woman who won't go against her family for you. I mean, how toxic does this sound? And we have here again Jasper demonstrating his ignorance of Filipino culture. A woman's obligation to her family in the Philippines doesn't go away because she's with a Filipino. It doesn't, suddenly appear because she is with a Westerner. This is expected whether she's single, whether she's with anyone. It doesn't matter.
You know, a Filipino guy has many options, and he can go, anywhere in the Philippines and probably have multiple beautiful Filipino women that are available to him. Filipino guys, even not having the money advantage, definitely beat Western guys.
What are you talking about? What are you even saying? Filipino guys can go anywhere in the Philippines and get beautiful Filipino women? I think this is news to the Filipino guys. I think, hey, Filipino guys that tune in are probably shocked to hear this. I'm not sure what kind of crazy mental gymnastics you're doing in your head to justify why you were rejected, but this is just, it's getting ridiculous.
Some girls like, blue eyes, green eyes. They like black guys. They like tall guys. They like, that we're maybe more business oriented, or that we're smart, or we can got an American passport, or we can give them a Phil-Am baby. But, according to my poll, it's like 35%. And I think that's spot on. That's what I said before I even did the poll. Obviously, my poll only has like 300 views or whatever, but...
Yeah, so his sample size was, 300 views on a poll. I don't even know how many of those were actually Filipinos. I also find it interesting that I believe nearly 100% of the Filipino women that are in his live streams speaking are Filipinas who either have Western boyfriends or have had Western boyfriends.
Filipino guys tend to have a lot of options. A lot of Filipino guys are in shape, they're handsome, they're whatever. Some Filipino guys make real good money, and money doesn't seem to be much of a factor in that sense. I've met a lot of Filipino girls that were happy taking care of their Filipino, but when they got with a Western guy, it completely was the exact opposite. But, to each their own. I'm not an expert. I've been out here almost a year.
I often get the question, why are you doing this channel? What is the purpose? There have been so many people that live here that try to point out incorrect information that Jasper gives or missing context. And as soon as we do, we're banned from his channel. He can't have anyone contradict him. I don't want expats coming to the Philippines with a false impression of what they can get or what they can do here or what their lifestyle is going to be like. And also, Jasper checks a lot of the stereotypical Western expat boxes that so many critics of Western males who come to Southeast Asia will categorize us all as. They will lump us all into the same category. We're all Jaspers. We're all these other loud expats who just are not the best representation from the country that they come from. Even if it contradicts statements that he's made several times over the last few months or contradicts reality itself, it does not matter. It's going to be true in Jasper's mind, and then he's going to put a video out that reflects that. So I would just strongly recommend to anyone who is considering paying $50 for a consulting session with Jasper to maybe rethink that decision. Hop on Google, hop on YouTube and see if there's a video or someone else that's maybe given this information previously, because honestly, you're going to find more accurate and more relevant information than you would speaking with Jasper. Thanks everyone for watching. If you have any recommendations for pieces of information that Jasper has put out that are just factually incorrect or missing context, please let me know down in the comment section. And until next time.